Do the differences between Crohn's disease and colitis make a difference in your long-term disability insurance claim? Now, disability carriers or plans don't make it easy for those who have Crohn's or colitis to get the disability insurance benefits they deserve. But this video is about what you need to know about perfecting your claim for Crohn's disease or colitis. Regardless of whether you have one or both or a combination of gastroenterological diagnoses, you have to be prepared to prove an objective basis of the diagnosis, an objective basis of the restrictions and limitations assigned by your physician. And you have to tie it together in a causal relationship between the diagnosis and those symptoms and your inability to do your own or any other occupation. We start out, of course, by looking at the definition of disability and your disability policy to find out what that definition is. But let's next talk about the differences between Crohn's and colitis. Crohn's disease is a chronic inflammatory condition of the gastroenterological tract, and it can affect any part of the gastroenterological tract from the mouth to the anus. It more commonly affects the end of the small bowel, known as the ileum, and the beginnings of the colon. Crohn's disease occurs in a pattern of normal areas with unaffected intestines, and then there are diseased intestines. Ulcerative colitis affects the whole large intestine. There are no healthy areas in between the inflamed spots. The entire large intestine is inflamed. The disability carrier is going to want to see objective evidence of the diagnosis of Crohn's or colitis, and as a practical matter, they're going to look for test results. These test results can include testing such as a sigmoidoscopy, which examines the lower intestines, a colonoscopy, which examines the large intestines, and they are going to expect to see an esophagogastroduodenoscope exam, mouthful. What it does is checks the lining of the esophagus, stomach, and the duodenum. They also expect an endoscopic examination. They expect to see testing of the bile ducts of the liver and the pancreas, and ultimately they expect to see objective evidence of the restrictions and limitations. Now, your medical records should document your symptoms, because I think that is the basis for restrictions and limitations. Diarrhea, cramps, constipation, an urgent need to have a bowel movement, rectal bleeding, fever, pain, and fatigue. Your physician is going to be relying on your symptoms to assign the restrictions and limitations. I suggest that you keep a log of those symptoms, documenting when they occur, how long they occur, and how they impact your ability to do things around the house and in the workplace. You should keep a copy of this, and you should also give it to your physician, because the physician is going to be completing a form called the attending physician statement form. And ultimately, I amend that form by providing them with the Crohn's or colitis residual functional capacity form used in Social Security cases, because I think they ask the right question. That stupid APS form doesn't ask the right questions. Now, just because you have a diagnosis of Crohn's or colitis and you have symptoms doesn't mean that you're disabled under the terms of the policy. You've got to establish a causal relationship between the diagnosis and the restrictions and limitations and your ability to do the material and substantial duties of your own occupation. Now, one of the problems in Crohn's disease and colitis cases is that your symptoms might come and go, and that's particularly true if you have flare-ups. It's the frequency of the flare-ups and the symptoms that are the key to establishing this causal relationship. You want your physician to address in your records why medically you have these symptoms and why they would preclude you from doing the material and substantial duties of your occupation. So to get there, I think you have to think backwards. Ask yourself, what are the material and substantial duties of your occupation or any other occupation based on the definition in your policy? What symptoms do you have that would interfere with your ability to do those material and substantial duties? And specifically, how do these symptoms prevent or interfere with your ability to do those duties? I know it's kind of graphic, but this is the kind of information that your physician is going to need to connect the dots. You may also have to secure a vocational opinion from a vocational rehabilitation counselor to connect the dots vocationally to establish why, from a vocational standpoint, you can't do the material and substantial duties of your own or any occupation. You can see it takes teamwork to perfect a Crohn's or colitis disease claim. So give me a call at 727-894-3188. If you're thinking about stopping work and apply for benefits, if your claim has been denied or terminated, I can help you get the benefits you deserve regardless of where you live in the United States.